What's up, YouTube? KO4Miles. This E-Train, aka El Guapo, Young Smack the General. Give you my point of view on one time versus Showtime. Keith Thurman versus Shawn Porter. Fight prediction video. Y'all heard from my boy KO. Now it's Young E-Train's time to give my thoughts. This is a very interesting fight. It's a 50-50 fight, if you ask me. Um, these guys are meeting at a point in time in their career that's very pivotal. Do I think this is for supremacy in 147? In the 147 welterweight division? Absolutely not. Um, at best, I look at this fight as you know, basically playing for number three, especially when you got Shawn Porter out there who's lost to Kell Brook. And Kell Brook, you can't say you're the king of division, and you got Kell Brook still running around undefeated, and he flipped you. I mean, right, wrong, or indifferent, he flipped you, and there's no way around it. He beat you straight up and down, no special effects. Then you got Keith Thurman. I think, I think both have a lot of talent, a lot of ability, but I'm from the show me state. You got to show me. You can't talk about you the greatest or you number one or you the top dog. You got to go out in the ring and beat these people. It doesn't matter who we can think, who we think or believe can win on paper. You got to put the gloves on, put the wraps on, get the banging and get busy. It's funny that, you get a lot of, this is for who's the best in the welterweight. You can't really say that. Not when you have multiple champions out there that are, still got zeros. And, these guys, I'm kind of glad that Mayweather has stepped away for at least the time being. Do I think he'll fight again? I think he'll fight again. One to two more times, and that's it. Do I think he should fight again? I think he should throw the Jays on the telephone line. Straight up. He's done everything you can ask for, made a ton of money, done all you can do in the sport. It's time to move on. I think it's funny that today's boxers and those guys that are on the come up, they try to follow his blueprint, but you got to understand, Money May didn't become Money May until he had, beaten Oscar De La Hoya at that point. And by the time he had beat De La Hoya, he had the Baldemirs and the Zabzudas and the Gottis and Chop Chop Corleys and Castillo. And, he had the Diego Corrales on his resume already. He was already a champion for a long time. And, you look at some of these resumes, and they just don't add up. I mean, Keith Thurman's most notable win is Robert Guerrero at this point. Leonard Bundu, Julio Diaz, Soto Karash. I mean, get the fuck out of here, man. His resume is shit. Just keeping it all the way funky, man. I think he has the talent, but again, you got to show me. Like, all these guys talking, they want to wait on what Mayweather's doing and all that. That excuse is out the window and out the door. You have to get in there and fight your contemporaries. And the way he's talking, if he wins his next 3-4 fights in a row, including tomorrow, Saturday, the hype and all the bravado is justified. You know, if he loses, he just looks like a paper champion. You know, a paper tiger out here. So um, he has to get it together. And less talking and more fighting. I remember there a number of years ago, probably back around 2008 or so, when he first broke on the scene, he fought like 6 or 7 times. I'm not saying you fight that much now, but at least fight 3 times a year. You know, 4 would be great. That gets your name out there. You know, these guys are a little too spoiled with that Al Heyman money. They just want to fight once, twice a year, and thinking they cool. Yeah, they getting a little paper, but they're not really household names like that. You know, they not really hot out in the streets. Their name not really buzzing like that. You know, nobody's checking for them or really purchasing their pay-per-view. So, you know, Shawn Porter, you know, he's very athletic. He has a lot of heart. He always comes into shape. Um, and in terms of fight prediction, I'll get right to that. It, like I said in the beginning, it should be a 50-50 fight. You got Keith with a lot of power, a lot of pop. He tries to move a little bit. You got Shawn Porter, who's just a bulldozer and a dog in there. And he's just going to keep coming and coming and coming forward very relentlessly. My specific pick for the fight, I got one time by possible late stoppage. I got him winning regardless. But I think he may possibly stop Porter around round 8, 9, or 10. And my thoughts on that is you think about the way Porter comes in. He only has around 16 KOs at this point. It's not so much that he doesn't have power. It's just that the range that he decides and chooses to consistently fight from just isn't conducive to sitting down, really turning and cracking with your punches to really be effective to get people out of there. You know, he wants to, not necessarily wants, but how he's been winning is by outworking, out hustling people. And, you know, who's the last guy he really, really beat up? You know, even the Adrian Bronner fight, you can't tell me that, you know, look at that fight with Porter versus how Maidana won. Maidana fucked AB up. He hit him with everything but the kitchen sink. Versus Porter, yeah, he looked busy. You know, no one's disputing that he won that fight, but you can't say that. I mean, hell, AB was out at the club the same night. You know, so it's not like he took a lot of punishment. And you say what you want, but if that fight had gone on longer, Shawn Porter was in trouble because AB started to let his hands go, and you know he started to, and even dropped him with the left hook in the 12th round. But you know that's on AB, and that's for another time, another place, another video. I think Thurman catches Shawn Porter coming in with left hooks and uppercuts all night. The check hook is going to be in play. It's going to be in the mix quite often. And that uppercut, as you can see, just coming with your head down, that just isn't very good defense for that uppercut. You know, even in tight quarters and in those clinches, Thurman can still get his uppercut off. It's going to be very hard for Porter to sustain that energy level from the start of the fight to the finish. I see Porter, while I think he has the heart and the determination, he's going to keep coming forward. He's not going to be nearly as effective when you get to round 7 and 8. And like I said, Thurman probably stops him around round 9 or 10. And I've yet to see very many fighters be able to meticulously break down their opponent, good and bad, the way Thurman has analyzed Shawn Porter's game. He has his game down to a T. And now we just got to see, can he execute? How effective is he? You know, Thurman will be tested in this fight as well. And it should be one to remember. And this will do a lot to shape up the welterweight division. There's no more Floyd and Pacquiao and all those guys. They're out. They're no more hiding and running and ducking. Let's get these belts unified and see who's really number one. And also, they got the they got the boogeyman out there, Earl Spence. He on their heels, to be honest. If he steamrolls Leonard Bundu, there's no more talking about, oh, he hasn't fought nobody. You got some common names, and the La Grecos and some of these other names. Him beating Algieri in the fashion he beat Algieri, for his win to be dismissed is that's a little bit of a cop out by the top welterweights. Nobody is not saying that the kid isn't good. They're giving reasons why they don't want to fight him right now, or trying to play matchmaker, or those sorts of things, but they hate when it was done to them. And that's kind of like going back to Thurman. You complain so much about Floyd ducking you allegedly and this sort of thing, but you got to think about the blueprint that Floyd has followed. He's gotten folks off their biggest win to date, and folks that can generate money late in his career and that sort of thing. The Robert Guerreros, the Leonard Bundus, those type of guys aren't going to do it. I mean, to be honest, if this was several years ago and you ran through Porter, Garcia, and Kell Brook, you would have been in there. But moving on, you can't complain about that and then on the flip side, try to style on the truth, which is Earl Spence Jr. You can't try to style on Earl Spence and play the same card that was played on you. It doesn't work that way. So this should be a good fight. I'm interested in seeing it, and I'll give you my post thoughts. Again, I got one time stopping the Showtime just after the middle rounds. Like I said, 8, 9, or 10. You will see a stoppage, and that's my prediction. This is E-Train, El Guapo, KO4Miles. I'm out.